Alright guys, there's been quite a few changes since my comprehensive 3,000 kilometer review, so just going to try and do a riding update video here. So quite a few changes which I'll go over from stock as well. A couple problems, but the first thing being reliability. It's been amazing. However, the chargers have been crapping out on me. 2 stock chargers dead, and now the PID Zoom charger, which I just did a video on, has died as well. Getting the warranty sorted out, there'll be updates as I repair that one. So I don't know if I'm just having bad luck, although I've heard other riders are having issues with their chargers as well. So I don't think it's just me, but who knows. So a big change is this tire, TNT tubeless. So just getting my initial thoughts now, about 100 kilometers ride distance on it. And it will be its own video coming up, so be sure to subscribe for that one. But the gist of it is, it's quite heavy, the heaviest tire I've ever used. That means it's stiff enough to be rated tubeless. However, I'm a lighter rider and I don't need that, so I really just want the Shinko 244, which I thought this was the same. So I've ordered that one as well to test. And now it does have some downsides, the weight being one, but that also means that it's very stable and holds its line. It's the best I've ever ridden to resist train tracking and wobbles. Really insane. And it's just great for road riding and soaking up mid-sized bumps. However, I don't like the noise it makes, it's too loud. And then it's kind of just a bit boring cornering. See, it's really kind of a neutral cornering stance, and it kind of doesn't take much effort because it leans over in the corners. More akin to the Kenda K262 than a similar round profile being the Michelin, which I thought it would share more traits with. See, look at that. I didn't even have to lean out in that corner, but then it has that gyro, just then I had to counter steer it a bit to get it out of that turn. Anyway, full review coming up later on. So another one, of course, is this light. I've just got it for review purposes. It's the IQ Light V2. This one's really cool for the Leaperkim wheels. It has cut-off beam, which I highly recommend if you're riding around anyone else. So having fun with that, full review coming up later as well. So this is just an update video. Oh, I got a 3D printer, so I've been having tons of fun, making stuff, because I do have a bit of a past history in designing, so you might be able to spot some of the accessories here. Big change here on the fairings that I've made. So that gives me more room to set the pads forward where I want, and the angle actually really helps lock in the shin and also stops any sort of slippage. I was getting a lot of slippage. And I also got the rear fairings as well, and they were made by request by a local rider, so he's been happy with those. And I just sort of enjoy it, not really doing it for, you know, massive source of income or anything. So let's see what I got on my notes here. Big change with the firmware 5013. That's what introduced the anti-pedal dip, but you still do get pedal dip, and especially if you use softer settings like me. So I'm using quite soft settings. I'll list them here, but the gist of it is 40 pedal hardness under the tree there, 100% acceleration, so that's when you're laying on the power, it'll come with you. Really helps with the braking safety as well, which is a huge factor for me, because the in-motion wheels had separate adjustable braking acceleration pedal hardness. So that's sort of how I compensate it with the Leaperkim wheels. And then the new feature, the CRU or something like that, I'm using it at 40. So that's a compensation factor. It sort of lifts the toes a bit in cornering. It feels like my toes are higher, but that's just because I was used to the dip situation before. And now I've gotten used to it, so it feels natural, but initially it feels like, yeah, it's lifting the toes, but it's just keeping the pedals more level through cornering, which is really cool. But you also feel it a bit under acceleration, and the higher you go, the more it tries to compensate. So that means if you're traveling this way, it'll lift the front of the pedals more, and at 100, it lifts the pedals so much in turns, it was ridiculous. It was as if I had low battery tilt back. So you really just have to play around with it. Look, I can't tell you the right settings, it's all personal preference, so you just got to have a play.
Alright guys, a few extra points here. With that original firmware, I did experience that infamous Leaperkim pedal dip on a jump. Nearly threw me off. Scary stuff.
And now, I have done a bunch of garage work, and one of the problems I tried to fix was a rattle that happens. Really noticeable on this track. I can't seem to replicate it right now, but I thought it was coming from the trolley handles. So on that teardown, I stuffed in some foam, and that helped the rattle from that element a bit, but it didn't fix that sort of initial problem I was chasing. And now I finally replaced the motor bolts with the higher strength 12.9 grade. And that's important because I have been shearing off for people. Now the stock bolts are a weird length, 22.5 millimeters. So the shop only had 20 millimeter bolts. So that meant they're a bit shorter. So the rating is meant to be for 18 Newton meters. However, because I had the shorter length of the bolt, I knocked it down to 16 Newton meters. So that's my recommendation there. And I'm only running 7, couldn't get that sheared bolt out, sadly. And now for this tire change, I threaded the suspension bracket. So recommendation there, down from 6 to 5 Newton meters, and that's what I'm running on that one. All right, checking my notes once again. So the right strut still has little holes that allows mud, water, crap to go on to the suspension. So what I did was, on my teardown, stripped that off and simply filled it in as I did for the left side. And I made a free 3D printed file, just a simple little piece of plastic to infill it, but you can use any sort of plastic there. Let's see. Interesting problem here that I was having less and less grip on the Velcro on these the pads, so I just replaced the front here. So you got to replace the Velcro on the wheel sometimes, and that's an interesting problem. Didn't realize that Velcro wore out in that way. Maybe it's all the mud that's built up, or adjusting the pads, repping it on and off. But I'm trying an AliExpress brand, doesn't seem quite as strong, just as the heavy duty stuff from our local hardware shop there.
When I was changing over the stock bumper to my 3D printed, I had a look at the case hole at the front, and the original design, I had some silicone around it, so looked to be in good condition in there.
Okay, so we've done the teardown. All the stuff's looking good, particularly because I rode through about 2 foot of water. It was ridiculously deep. Hopefully I got the footage there. Let's see, so
in the teardown, I opened up the battery pack and saw there was a rubber gasket, and it all looked to be in good condition in there.
Big change was the 3D printed parts, and I might do a full video on that because I went a bit crazy and printed off a bunch of stuff for a friend, and so I've got the footage of that. But sadly my horn mount, which I had the mount up under the wheel here tucked away, doesn't fit with the IQ light, so I've back to the handle mount. Don't know what the fix for that is going to be. So the wheel's been going great. This is why I spend more for a Leaperkim wheel. So much fun, all-round reliability, and that's why I've taken a variety of terrain here, some tight stuff, off-road, faster road riding, just to showcase it is an great all-round wheel. Now you do have a few more options now with the NOSFET Apex, and then you have the X-Way Kingsong F22, all in that similar sort of category and size performance wheel. You can just see this heavy tyres a little bit slow to braking through there. So the main updates are really all the accessories that I put on. So the IQ Lite video and tubeless review, probably 2 tyre reviews coming up. All that's where all the juicy info is, I reckon. Cheers everyone, ride safe, and I'll see you next time.